the pit at Central High School. Tonight's Cable 36 High School Game of the Week. It's the unbeaten Glendale Falcons against the Central Bulldogs. Hello again, everyone. I'm Rob Evans along with Don West, and tonight the homestanding Bulldogs will take on the #1 team in the state in Class 4A, the Glendale Falcons. The Glendale Falcons off to a 12-0 start. And, Don, they're coming off the championship in the blue and gold tournament that we had on our last telecast here on Cable 36. They're an outstanding ball club.
Certainly are. They've got great firepower with an all-senior starting lineup, and they're going to be tough to handle at 12-0. But you come over here to the pit, and you don't really know what's going to happen over here in the center city. The Bulldogs are 6-5 overall, and they've played a tough schedule. And I tell you, Rob, this is not a game that Glendale can put in the bank before it starts, possibly unlike years past, but this is going to be a tough ball game for them.
And I think the Falcons only have to look at what happened to the Kickapoo Chiefs the other night. The Chiefs are ranked 7th in the state. They've lost one ball game, and they had to get a shot from Brian Stock inside the last minute, or inside the last couple of seconds of the game to win the ball game.
Yeah, 72-71 Tuesday night out at Kickapoo. So Central's playing some good basketball right now. They take Kickapoo right to the buzzer as Mike Keltner takes a look at things. His team coming in the perfect 12-0, and they are the team with the pressure on them to keep winning.
So settle back and enjoy the ball game. It's the Glendale Falcons against the Central Bulldogs, and we'll be back right after this.
What happened?
National anthem before our ball game here at Central High School. The pit, well, we'll see if it returns to the home court advantage down that it used to be for the Central High School basketball program back in the days when they were one of the better teams in the city.
Going back to the mid-'80s when Central was a power in high school basketball, of course, both on the boys and the girls side, with the girls championship in the state in 1984, and the boys that year were every bit as tough, and great to be back over at the pit. We don't get over here too much for our Cable 36 ball games, but it's great to get here when we do.
Take a look at the starting lineups for Glendale as they come out, and they're going to start David Ross. He's a 5'11 senior at a guard spot. Austin Thompson and Wes Pickering really in a three-guard set there. Thompson can slide to a forward at 6'2 and a senior. Pickering also 6'2 and a senior. Blake Will at 6'6. He too a senior. He'll start in the middle. And Ben Garowitz is the other inside player at 6'3 and a senior. Darius Clark and Luke Westerman will start at the guards. Clark is a 6-foot senior. Westerman is 5'7 senior. Vernon Smith and Gary Stafford are the forwards. Vernon Smith at 6'3 and a senior. Stafford is 6'1 junior. And Joe Hutanji at 6'3 and a senior. He is the Central Foreign Exchange student from Germany, has a German background. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when he gets matched up against Andres Mueller, the 6'10 junior for Glendale, who comes off the bench and really doesn't get that much playing time. But it'll be interesting to see those two if they get matched up during the course of the evening.
Well, Joe Hutanji has a tough task tonight, Rob, because he's facing 6'6" Blake Will to start the game, and then all Mike Keltner can do is bring in 6'10" Andreas Mueller off the bench when Will needs a rest. Hutanji towering at 6'3" is, along with Vernon Smith, the two tallest Bulldog starters. Kind of the case year in and year out for Central, lacking that one big, tall tree in there in the middle, but somehow they managed to come up with some pretty good teams every year without the benefit of a big guy.
You know, I'm looking forward to seeing if Vernon Smith can get away from the Glendale defense, and I know that Ron White, who is starting his first year here at Central, counts a lot on Darius Clark to get some things done for him, but Vernon Smith is a guy that has a little bit of talent and can play this game.
Clark and Smith both average right at 18 points a game, but it's Smith that gets a lot of the attention since he's 6'3", but Clark can light it up, and those two are your top scorers for the Bulldogs. Hutanji at about 10 a game, and Central itself is a team averaging 58-2 for their offensive scoring average. They're allowing 54.1, and as we said, coming in with a 6-5 record, and they're going try to erase the bitter memory of a lost Tuesday night at Kickapoo. And meanwhile, Glendale getting a convincing win against the Hillcrest Hornets on Tuesday night to open conference play after an 11-0 start.
Well, one thing for sure, Mike Keltner was talking earlier today about, he goes, I don't know if Tuesday night's game got our players' attention, but it certainly got mine, because he knows how good Kickapoo is. They've had a good ball club year in and year out, ranked 7th in the state. Glendale unbeaten at 12-0, and they are number 1 in Class 4A in the state of Missouri. And they, of course, will be playing in the Tournament of Champions. We'll be talking a little bit more about that coming up during this telecast. Glendale and Central, Gary Schultz is going to toss the ball in the air. He'll be the head referee, and he's just down at the bottom of your picture. Randall Long will be the other official as we get started here this evening. Central dressed in white with red and black trim. Glendale in the dark blue with the red numerals and the white trim as Blake Will gets set to jump center against Vernon Smith as we go with our first telecast of the new year. And here's Don.
And on this hideous weather night, we hope you're staying in and watching us tonight instead of trying to get out.
How much did you pay for that? That's a $3 word to start the year.
This is just about the only game in Southwest Missouri tonight because it's between two city teams. All other action called off because of the brutal weather.
And that includes Parkview and Lebanon, I believe, are supposed to play tonight here in town.
Kansas City, Lincoln, and Hillcrest were supposed to play tonight too, and those are not happening. So if there's high school basketball tonight, it's right here at the pit, and we start with a couple of turnovers, and Glendale gets the ball.
Glendale lost the opening tap that bounced off of, I want to say, Wes Pickering's hands, and then Darius Clark had a pass go through his hands and out of bounds.
And Glendale in dark blue with red and white. First real offensive look, and Wes Pickering will lean in and get a chance for three.
The one problem that Central can't afford is to get Smith in foul trouble, and right away Glendale went after him, even though they kind of surprised Pickering with the ball down to the post. He was able to finish strong, and he missed the free throw.
And the free throw is missed and out of bounds to the Central Bulldogs. Luke Westerman, the point guard, up across midcourt for Central. This is Darius Clark. Watch for him, a 6-foot senior scoring 18 a game. Vernon Smith wears 24 for the Dogs. This is Gary Stafford. And around to Westerman. Glendale in a zone look, and a long three is good for Darius Clark for an early Central lead, 3-2.
Play zone, it's the best way to kind of keep Smith under control, but if Clark can shoot from the outside, they may have to change their mind.
Baseline, Blake Will. Very dangerous from that range, and it's out of bounds and touched by Clark.
Yeah, Will is listed at 6'6". He's listed as a center, but don't let that fool you, folks. He can shoot the ball from out of the perimeter, and if you throw it to him in the lane, most of the time, he'll connect.
He'll make most of those one-footers, but not that one.
Point is he was wide open underneath on the inbounds play.
Smith left corner for Central. And up to Darius Clark. Vernon Smith gets it back. Reverse layup. And 5-2 Central early on. And Will is going to be called for traveling.
Right off the bat, we're going to see a Glendale sub as Matt Tinsley comes in, and David Ross is going to grab an early seat. Tinsley, a 5'10 junior. One of about 7 or 8 that Mike Keltner will go with.
He's the solid 6th man for Coach Mike. With Glendale still back in the zone, they're going to concede the three for a while at least, and Clark missed that one. Lead it ahead to Pickering for the layup. And that's where Glendale can jump up and bite you is in transition. Vernon Smith out to Westerman, and he traveled.
Kind of a contradiction in terms. You always think of Glendale as wanting to control the pace, but part of them controlling the pace is getting up and down the floor, and you don't associate that with the Glendale. With Glendale Central, you don't think that Glendale will be the team that might want to run a little bit more than the Bulldogs will, but that's the case.
Ben Garwitz, and here's another travel.
Think about the Falcons, Don. They're capable of playing half court. I know they turned it over right there, and it's been a little sloppy here in the first couple of minutes, but they're also very capable of doing well in the half court, and they can also play well in transition. You know, that's why you're 12-0 and ranked number 1 in the state.
Joe Hutanji with it out in no man's land, and he has to use the dribble to avoid a 5 count, and he gets a pretty good shot in the air and missed. Pickering on the glass for the Glendale Falcons. Will underneath with the reverse layup, and he got it from Tinsley. And Glendale up 6-5. We played 3 minutes at the pit. Live with you tonight here on Cable 36. Vernon Smith out front. Hutanji against Austin Thompson out front, and
Will came over to get the block, yeah.
He does, and cutting through, Tinsley misses, but right there is Austin Thompson.
So she get Glendale with a couple of quick baskets, one on out of the half court with Will a nice drive underneath, and then in transition. So half of their points have come on the transition.
Westerman in a little trouble now, and he finds Hutanji. Good backdoor pass and the cut down floor for Stafford, and he's going to earn it at the line.
Made a no-look pass, or kind of a no-look bounce, but he took just enough time to look at him for that one split second that cost him. If he knows he's there, makes that bounce pass quick, and Central gets the basket, but Glendale was able to recover defensively.
Westerman with a dribble up top. Vernon Smith into Hutanji against Will, and Smith makes good. Make that Hutanji. 8-7 Falcons midway through the first quarter. There is Garwitz. Hutanji for the Bulldogs. Smith will go up in the lane. Gets the friendly roll. And it continues to be close and end to end, and Will with the answer for the Falcons. 12-9 Glendale. We're putting some points on the board.
You wonder if both coaches are sitting there going, is anybody going to guard somebody here?
Clark is going to be the beneficiary of a hand check foul called by Gary Schultz.
Take a look at this move on the baseline. This was Blake Will underneath, and look at how he gets it and then just kind of guides it off the glass there. That was a good play.
Tinsley got the foul, and now there's a Bulldog foul before the inbounds play. And that's on Gary Stafford. Just 2 team fouls apiece to this point. 3:11 to go first quarter. And the Bulldogs turned the ball over for the 3rd time. Garwitz into Will. And
nice move. Wow, that was a pretty move. Because you see where he made the move is when he made the nice little head fake there and got Hutanji to buy that move, and that made the basket. Stafford fouled as he goes up. Gary Stafford to the free throw line for Central. Glendale dominating lane play so far on the offensive end. There's the Stafford foul, the foul not in the act of shooting. Actually, some Pickering, and it's his 2nd. And a high floating shot missed by Vernon Smith. The Bulldogs recover. Hutanji, and he had a nice touch. Bulldogs are doing a good job of getting him the ball. And he's doing something with it when he gets it. That's the thing. They're not just using the big guy to kick the ball back outside.
Will hits the soft touch jumper, and he has 8.
That's
first quarter.
That's Glendale's first 2 points outside the paint. All 14 of their 16 have been in the lane.
The first 14. Clark beyond 3 range. Stafford kicks it out to Smith. Back to Vernon Smith. And it's knocked out of bounds. Bulldog ball, side court. And the Falcons send Matt Tinsley back in. A minute 40 to go, first quarter. Glendale on top of Central, 16-11. Don West and Rob Evans live from the pit.
And Glendale for a moment mixed up whether they wanted to play man or zone and left someone in the corner open, but Central couldn't get them the ball, so finally they've got everything where they want it to be.
Clark hits the 3, and Tinsley was playing a loose man on him, and Clark just took a step further back and hit the 3-pointer. So a 2-point game with a minute left in the first. And the Bulldogs now with a chance to tie as Smith intercepts. Westerman, and out to Clark. Westerman, it's 3, and Central leads. The third Bulldog 3 of the first period.
Westerman's going to have to take that shot. I was about ready to say he passed up a good one momentarily, but he hit the open one, and on the strength of their outside shooting, the Bulldogs lead by 1 as the first quarter comes to a close.
Hitting a good percentage. Central up by a point. With 15 seconds left in the quarter, Glendale just looking for a shot, and Thompson traveled.
It's funny how good shooting makes you want to play a little defense on the other end, Don, because Central that time D'd up, didn't let them have anything to, and now with 10 seconds to go, they've got a chance to go up even further here in the first quarter.
This could be a big, big momentum swing for Central going into the second. Clark, short from 3 range. And there's your first quarter buzzer. And the Bulldogs of Central lead the number 1 team in the state, the Glendale Falcons, 17-16 after 1. At the start of the second quarter, Glendale with the ball. Central up 17-16. And the pass into the lane picked off by Darius Clark, and he'll stop and let everybody get by, and then go back and pick the ball up.
That is a help if you want to score some points.
Westerman's 3-pointer toward the end of the first quarter has Central on top by 1. Westerman at the top. Clark hit a couple of first quarter threes. Vernon Smith with 4 Bulldog points. Utanji inside. There's David Ross. Well, Central's got to hit those.
And then avoid fouls like that. They were just running along side by side, and Clark kind of lunged as if he thought about trying to steal the ball, but he never got close enough to do that. All he did was trip him.
Darius Clark, his first foul. 3 team fouls apiece now. Austin Thompson out on the left wing with the ball. Tinsley up to Garwitz, looking low, not there. They work it to Ross, now down low for Garwitz.
I would imagine Mike Keltner at the quarter break said, get patient on offense. If they guard for 25 seconds, don't worry, make the extra pass, and you'll get a layup, and that's what they got.
And a hand check foul again, the second one of those. This one's on Ross, and it's his first and the Falcons' 4th. Coaches will tell you to do that until you get caught.
Do it until you get caught once or twice, but then you have to adjust. And Glendale matching up now, going man, as they did right before that last foul on Ross.
You know the Falcons will be ready to adjust to that slightly tighter officiating here in this one.
They might be one of the best teams in town at doing just that.
Vernon Smith puts the Bulldogs back up, 19-18.
And by that I'm saying they might be able to adjust a little bit better than some of the other ball clubs, and that's why they're off to a good start.
Ross up top, three-pointer. Not quite. Gary Stafford, big for the rebound for Central. Glendale had a 5-2 rebounding edge in the first quarter. And here's a foul inside called by Gary Schultz, and that will be against Ross. Ross matched up with Hutanji defensively on that particular sequence.
They were looking to go man a moment ago, and for a moment they had Will guarding Westerman, and I think that was where they got that straight at the quarter break as well. And now he jumps out on him again, but I think that's because Glendale is zoned up again. Now, as I say that, they drop back into...
It's a really loose man, or so much that it looks like a zone.
Matchup zone.
Yeah. Westerman is called for a charge. Here's Westerman coming at you.
Watch him now, right there's the contact.
And plenty of it.
Shoulder to torso will get you a charge just about every time. And you were an official, you know that. Right?
I think I could have called that one. 5 minutes left in the first. Ross rainbows it over the goal. Hutanji picks it up. Clark ahead to Smith. To do it. A mammoth dunk for Smith. And the Falcons turn it over.
Oh, wow. Check this out, folks.
And then what happened was
a lane violation on Glendale, or an inbounds violation.
They apparently stepped on the line throwing it in. And now Gary Stafford's going to be called for over the back as Will had position on him.
Stafford with his second. Ross and Pickering have 2 fouls for Glendale.
Bulldogs by 3, approaching the midway point of the second quarter. Off Thompson was fading away, maybe a little off balance with his shot. Clark, here's Hutanji at the foul line. Westerman. Central playing some good first half ball. Westerman against Thompson. Has it stripped away. Pickering. Oh, he's called for traveling. And nothing can go right for the Falcons right now. Here's Pickering.
That's it.
He dribbled it off of his...
Caught it just enough to travel with it.
Off his upper leg there, and you saw it.
And what that enabled him to do was it enabled him to hesitated this dribble just enough that he took an extra step, and Gary Schultz had the travel.
Smith lost it. It's Bulldog possession underneath. .323 to go first half. Inbounds for Darius Clark. And he'll lean in and can't quite hit it. gets his own board, blocked out, but Central keeps possession. Hot action on a cold night here in the pit. Westerman, that'll go over. Over and out, and Glendale ball. Team fouls still low, 5 apiece, so not any 1-and-1s coming. And here's Garwitz hitting, and he'll go to the line. And this foul's on Charles Johnson, just into the Bulldog lineup, 32.
You let Garwitz go that way like that, 9 times out of 10, he's going to go to the line for the three-point play. He's good and strong going up with that left hand.
And Garwitz ties it up with the free throw, 21 apiece. And we're under 3 minutes to go first half, as you see. Smith going back to work.
I've got him with 8 points, which is tied for the game scoring honors, but they've been a quiet 8, haven't they?
Yep.
Except for the monster jam. So that's just 1 shot out of 4 that he made.
Watch Central's patience here. Westerman, Ron White called him back out to kind of start over and regroup. And they get the shot, the open jumper. Oh, and it just rattles out. Offensive board, though, and Johnson has it smacked away by Garwitz. Central's getting good looks. On the other end, Thompson with an easy layup. And Glendale reclaims the lead.
That's the thing. Glendale really hasn't shot it that well. They missed a number of inside shots early. But now they start to hit the open looks they're going to get. Central will have some problems.
Turned the ball over 6 times, but Central has given it back 5. Here's Smith against Will. Hutanji underneath. And Hutanji had nobody very close to him for that rebound.
Yeah, but Vernon with that, he put the ball up on the glass. Now he got it up there by hanging in the air that long. Kind of made the play. Threw everybody else's timing off except Hutanji.
Ross with the drive. And Will gets a second chance and makes good. There's your first half clock now. Central looking to get even or take the lead. Clark will get even. 8.5 for Darius Clark. Smith also with 8. And that's about par for the course for Central. Ross had Westerman falling down. And then the foul as he got back up.
Well, Luke doesn't understand what he did right there, but what he did was he fell down, which was fine, no call. But when he got up, he grabbed a hold of him and held him and wouldn't let him go by. And I don't know if we can see it again, but he had his hand out. And here's where, okay, gets knocked down, no call. Boom, right there. Did you see him put the forearm out, and that's what got him the foul call.
And yeah, he wanted the elbow in his face called, but
the reason why he didn't get it called was because he went down a little too quick. He was trying to flop and draw the charge, and had he not done that and just got knocked down,
probably would have got it.
Yeah.
Ross hit the first one, and now he'll come out as Nathan Forbes is at the table for Glendale.
So Forbes is in and Tinsley is in for Glendale. And those 2 players, along with Thompson, Will, and Garwitz, will stay out on the floor for the final 20 seconds. You get Pickering and Ross, your two players with 2 fouls, out of there.
See if the Bulldogs can tie it or take the lead. For the lead, Smith. Not quite. And at the half, the Glendale Falcons lead it 27-25 in a tough battle at the pit.
Rob Evans down west back at Central High School as the Kilties get set to perform for the crowd here. Glendale with a 27-25 lead at the first stop. Central led at the end of the first quarter, actually at the end of the first half. Glendale trailed by 1 at the first break, 17-16. Outscored the Bulldogs 11-8 in a second quarter down in which the pace was down, slowed down just a little bit.
Well, these teams have played on an even keel through half of basketball, Rob. The Bulldogs have been right there, and they've had seemingly an answer for just about anything Glendale's come up with. Central has given up several easy shots underneath on defense, but they've made up for that by hitting some shots and hit 3 three-pointers in the first half themselves, and they've also got Vernon Smith very involved from inside and out with the big dunk and with some outside shooting. That's just an excellent half for Central. And on the Glendale side, they've had 10 points from Blake Will, but as we mentioned about Smith a while ago, they've been kind of quiet points, and Garwitz has had some more flashy scoring with 7. Those are your Falcon leaders.
One thing about it, how can you say that a guy who threw down a dunk with 2 hands, spread eagle at the end of the shot that brought the house down, how can you say that guy had 8 quiet points in the first half? But I know what you mean because I said it first.
Yeah, the 6 of them were. Those 2 weren't quiet, but the rest of them really were.
So that was, I think Glendale has done a good job in keeping him really out of the flow of things by mixing it up on the defensive end. 27-25, Glendale, the number 1 team in Class 4A state, leads the Central Bulldogs, and we'll be back. Rob Evans down west back at Central High School, where Glendale has a 27-25 lead over the Central Bulldogs, and the Falcons coming into the ball game down off to that 12-0 start. You expected them to get out of the gate early, but really both teams kind of had a slow start.
And that's to Central's credit, I think. Glendale did not get out of the gate early, and that's one thing if you're Central that you didn't want to give up was a 10 or 12 to 2 start in this game. Central didn't do that. They got out, they hit a 3-pointer early on to kind of establish a presence, and then they ended up leading by a point after a quarter. They led through a lot of the second quarter, but Glendale just kind of got one of the last looks at the basket in the first half, and so they scored last.
You know, the reason why I say that is because when you're unbeaten and the top team in the state, you expect to put teams away early, and what Mike Keltner didn't want is he knows this is a talented Central ball club, and he didn't want to be in a 2-point game at halftime, but that's exactly what he's in right now.
Mike told us before the game that, as you said earlier, he hopes his players took notice of that Kickapoo score the other night, because he certainly did. A 1-point loss for the Bulldogs, and that was out on the prairie, and Central's playing Glendale every bit as tough as they wanted to, and every bit as tough as Mike Keltner was expecting him to.
27-25, Glendale has the lead, and we are at halftime, and we'll be back right after this.
Halftime here at the pit, and your numbers. Pretty good shooting for Glendale in the first half, 12 of 19. Central a lot more shots, and just 1 less made. Central did not attempt a free throw, and Glendale 4 out of 8. Central made 3 3-pointers. The rebounding game is close, as is the turnover game. And we've got a tight one, 27-25. Glendale with the lead, a couple minutes away from the start of the second half. Did I just see what I think I saw?
I don't know. What I was getting ready to comment on before you dog me, and that is that, we said right before the break, and you look at the numbers, and Glendale shoots a great percentage in the half, but yet they got off to a slow start because they missed a number of those shots early on in the first quarter and kind of established there was going to be a close ball game. And yes, you did.
In that commercial set, did I see Rob Evans on a promo for World Legion Wrestling?
Yes, you did. And you know what? That's going to be a lot of fun.
I guess so.
It is. It's going to be loads of fun, and the show's on Saturday night at 11 o'clock to give us a plug. We're back with the second half right after this. Rob Evans, Don West, back at the pit at Central High School, and we've got a good one in our first telecast of the new year. Of course, coming up, our next action will be back Monday and Tuesday nights with good high school action before the Tournament of Champions next weekend as we start the second half. Central shoots at the basket off the year left, and Westerman misses. Both teams starting the way they open the game. Glendale with a pass ahead to Pickering, who has a couple of fouls, but a nice layup. He has 6 points. Glendale leads now by 4 inside the first 30 seconds. Vernon Smith for the Bulldogs. Gary Stafford lost his balance, but got the pass to Westerman, who Tanji thought about pulling the trigger. Goes cross floor to Clark instead. And we get a foul called on Austin Thompson, and that will be his first.
Foul trouble is not a concern right now. Nobody has over 2. Ross and Pickering with 2 each for Glendale. On the Central side, Westerman and Gary Stafford with 2 fouls apiece.
Darius Clark picks up the dribble, throws it away out front, and it goes out of bounds, and Luke Westerman with a little bit of hop to get up there.
On top of this new press table here on the bench side at the pit. Very well constructed and padded. Put together, we're told, by Ron White and Byron Looney.
They did an outstanding job. Gives us a nice view of the ball game. Thompson with the ball for Glendale. They've got a 4-point lead. 60 seconds into the second half. Pickering. Out front, Thompson to Ross. Head of the circle. Westerman will pick him up man-to-man. Blake Will out on the floor. Down low. Garowitz missed it. Hutanji with a rebound. Westerman. Hutanji catches. He'll try the 3. Yes!
Wow, where did that come from?
From way downtown. And 9 points for Joe Hutanji.
And it's safe to say that any Bulldog is fair game for shooting a 3 now.
Blake Will in the open floor. It's a 1-point game. Glendale with the lead of the ball. Garowitz to Will. There's Pickering, and he'll take that shot anytime he gets it. He misfired. Garowitz had the rebound taken away from him by Darius Clark for Central. Westerman into the forecourt. Bounce pass to Vernon Smith. See what they'll do against the Glendale zone, how they'll move it around. Westerman tries to penetrate, and it's kicked by Pickering, and it'll go out of bounds.
They've got to be patient with it, Central does. They're shooting for the lead here again. We're 2 minutes into the third quarter, and the shot has come open for Central. It did in the first half, at least, and we'll see if a good shot presents itself and if Central has the patience to let it happen.
Vernon Smith will handle outside. Now he looks to go one-on-one with Blake Will. Leans into the lane, puts it up, and shoots an air ball, but a foul was called. And Will is going to pick up his first foul.
Well, you take your chances when you go one-on-one, but that's what Vernon Smith decides to do, and he gets the foul call.
So he'll go to the line and shoot 2.
He remind you of somebody from Central days gone by? He looks like Darren Faulkner.
A little bit. Free throw is good. That's the first foul shot of the night. Made and attempted by Central, or should I say attempted and made.
And that goes back about 11 or 12 years now, I guess.
What, their first free throw attempt?
No, Darren Faulkner.
That's what I thought. Vernon Smith with 10. And don't look now, but the Bulldogs are back on top. A 5-0 run to start, or actually a 5-2 run to start the half, and we get a whistle and a foul.
Number 2 on Vernon Smith, riding his man a little bit that time.
30-29 Central. Glendale having a bit of trouble getting it inbounds, finally do so. David Ross and Luke Westerman, they clear out. Pickering, guarded by Vernon Smith. Over to Austin Thompson. Darius Clark watches him. Blake Will and Hutanji at the foul line, and Will pulls the trigger, rims it in and out. Hutanji with a rebound, and he'll give it to Westerman, and the Bulldogs by a point with the basketball. Just about 3 minutes into the third quarter. Westerman backs in against Pickering, can't do anything with it. Hutanji on the deck, spins against Blake Will. Clark for 3, off the iron. Thompson the rebound, he'll lead the breakup floor. Central back defensively, and Clark comes back from behind and commits his second foul. So Darius Clark has picked up 2, and the ball goes out of bounds underneath, and it'll belong to Glendale. David Ross to trigger. Pickering by way of Blake Will. They'll post Will low, but Hutanji denies him the ball, and he has to break out to the wing to catch it. Pickering over to Ross. Ross, as Westerman went for a steal, drives into the lane. Will with a 14-footer that's too hard. Stafford with a rebound, and he is fouled by Glendale. And Austin Thompson is going to get number 2 of the quarter. So the Bulldogs with a 1-point lead once again with the basketball. See Ron White standing, directing traffic for his ball club. Get into a motion game. Vernon Smith drives by his man underneath. Stopped, pulls up, missed it. Knocked out of bounds. Central will keep it.
This is another thing Central's doing in this game, Rob. They're getting some breaks. See, Smith is way too far under here, and he has to do something with the ball. But it's knocked out by a Falcon, and Central gets to keep it.
Westerman to Clark. Tinsley will come in at the next break for Glendale. Smith almost traveled with it, but gets it to Stafford. Westerman out front. Ross went for a steal, and the ball is kicked out of bounds by Austin Thompson. That time Glendale recovered defensively. And Ross will grab some bench, and Tinsley will enter the ball game. Tinsley has yet to score. Played a few minutes in the first half. 3:40 left to play here in the third quarter. 30-29 Central. And every second that ticks off the clock works to the Bulldogs' favor as long as they have the lead and the game is still close, because if it's close to the end, they've got a chance.
This is what you hear called hanging around. Central is hanging around against Glendale right now. The Falcons, not only can they not put them away, they don't even have the lead.
Smith missed it. Hutanji with a rebound. He missed it. Glendale with a rebound. Pickering comes out of there with it. Central had a couple of point-blank opportunities to actually a good shot by Smith on the 3, and then the point-blank put back by Hutanji. We're going to get a whistle and a foul away from the ball in the lane, and Westerman talks to Randall Long, but Luke will pick up his third.
Luke's asking for an elbow here, but he's the man who...
No, wasn't there.
He hung up Tinsley that time.
Blake Will in the lane gets the basket, and we'll give him credit for it. He has 12. 31-30. Glendale back on top. Clark. Good streak shooter, and he's in range right now. They have to get out and guard him. He'll look to go one-on-one with a spin move into the lane, and a block is going to be called. And that's going to give Central the ball out of bounds. We'll see who tried to set. And it's Garowitz, and take a look. Yeah, he was still moving when he went up in the air. That's why they're going to call that a two-shot foul. Garwitz with his first. Clark will shoot the third Central free throw of the game. And he missed it. 2:36 left to play in the third quarter. Tie game at 31. Clark with 9, his first points of the second half. 2.5 to play, third quarter. Thompson. Blake Will over to Tinsley. They'll find Pickering in the lane, and he'll miss it with a left hand, but he'll draw the foul, and Westerman may have picked up foul number 4. Nope. Hutanji gets the call.
Hutanji hit him in the face. You could barely see it as the replay came to that camera angle. He hit him in the face on the way up.
Tell you what, with the contact anymore, I think in the game, even on the high school level, I think I would adopt the Darius Clark attitude and play with goggles.
Yeah,
I really would if I
you're...
played now. Pickering hits both foul shots, but Randall Long's going to wave off the second one, and he has 7 points. So it's 32-31.
We didn't get a good look as to whether he called the shooter or a Glendale lane player violating that time.
So the Falcons lead by 1. Clark with the ball. Westerman at the elbow, passes to Clark, and the ball stolen away by Pickering. 9 for Pickering. Glendale leads by 3. We've seen Glendale play 3 times, or 4 times actually, but it was in the blue and gold. And they won all of those games by an average of 31 points. This is the first time we've seen them in a close game. 1:40 left to play. And you know before it's all over with, we'll have several of those. Ron White's going to take a timeout, and we are determining whether it's going to be a 20. It's a 20-second timeout with 1:36 remaining in the third quarter, 34-31. Glendale has the lead, and believe it or not, that's the first timeout taken in the ball game. And you can tell Mike Keltner exerting his ball club on, or exhorting them. We'll have girls high school basketball Monday night. That's a good battle always. Kickapoo and Glendale, the Lady Chiefs and the Lady Falcons at Glendale. Glendale coming off a huge win over Central the other night. Ugh.
Ron White last year was at Carver Middle School after coaching at Republic as the head coach for a single season 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect fit for him. Obviously it is, because his team is doing well this year. And they've certainly played 2 of the top 10 teams in Class 4A in the state very well the last 2 days, or at least the last game and a half, game and 3 quarters. Darius Clark draws a foul. It's going to be on Austin Thompson, and that will be his third. Down to 1:10 to play. Third quarter. Gary Stafford with the ball. Clark catches down to the post. They double him, so it comes out to Stafford, who drives into the lane, and an offensive foul is going to be called after the shot. It did not fall through, so Glendale will have the ball, maintaining their 3-point lead with 1:01 to play.
David Ross back in for the Falcons, and you know, Ron White, not only a good coaching fit here, but he's a good personality fit at Central too.
I would agree with that.
Denny Hunt was too.
Ross outside to Tinsley, down to 49 seconds. Glendale is going to look for the first good shot, but not be afraid to hold it for the last minute of the quarter. Will to Pickering. Pickering spins baseline and draws a foul from Stafford. And Stafford has just picked up his 4th. So if Ron White has a problem, it might be his depth, and he'll go to Charles Johnson. And you saw right there the block coming into your living room.
Almost pushing him out of bounds, as it were.
Well, that was what they said that he did.
Yeah.
The 6th on Central. Blake Will takes it up against Hutanji, and Big Joe says, "Not in my house, you don't." And the two exchange glances, and Hutanji picks up his second, and you'll see it right here. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was right on his elbow. These are not shooter-friendly rims. You've got to hit this thing right dead center in order to make it. Blake Will gets the second. He has 13. Down to half a minute to go. 4-point lead for Glendale.
It's about as big as the lead's been either way.
Vernon Smith to Clark, head of the key for the three. It's short. Clark gets his own rebound, but it bounces off his knee. Scramble underneath, and Pickering runs it down to the corner. Tinsley ahead to Garowitz. Garowitz lost the handle on the ball, but it was knocked out of bounds by the Bulldogs. 3 seconds left on the third quarter clock.
They could take their biggest lead here. Looks like 5 is about as big as Glendale's margin was, and that goes back to the first quarter.
Inbounds to Pickering. He'll shoot and leave it short, but the follow shot is not going to count. Garowitz hit it at the buzzer, but it's waved off, and at the end of 3, Glendale leads 35-31. Very low scoring in the third quarter, Don. Perhaps the lowest scoring quarter of the game. In fact, it is.
Only 6 points put up by Central and 8 for the Falcons.
And that comes on an 8-point second quarter for Central. So Glendale defensively, after Central had the lead, is clamped down after the first quarter break. Garowitz underneath against Johnson, and he hits the layup. And you cannot give him that open shot down on the block. He'll put it home every time.
Well, that's a defensive breakdown that Central cannot afford to give up anymore. They're going to stay in it.
Glendale with their biggest lead of the game, and they get a steal, but the ball goes out of bounds, so Central will keep it. (37-31). 7.5 minutes to play in the game. Clark with the basketball. Hutanji in the corner. He'll look at Johnson low. And Darius Clark will get it outside, take baseline. He's in trouble. Finds Westerman out front.
Central really needs points on this possession. They're 6 down, and 8 looks pretty big in a game that's been as close as this one has.
Clark missed the baby J. Garowitz with a big rebound, and you're right. An 8-point margin in a game at this pace is huge. Tinsley into the corner to Blake Will. They'll look at Ross cutting through and find Pickering head of the circle. He'll drive into the lane, use the glass, and score. Pickering with 11, and that's not what Coach White wanted. See if he burns a timeout here. Nope, he's going to watch him play. Still early in the fourth quarter. Vernon Smith down to the baseline, shot it too hard. Rebound tipped out to Hutanji. Clark has it for Central. Johnson in the lane, back outside. Clark had a 3 blocked by Will, and Will commits the foul. 3 shots for Darius Clark.
Mike Keltner contending to our left that.
Well, he was contending that, but it was not, as you can see on the rebound or the replay there.
It was just as he was landing, and he was still a shooter.
Well, his hand was in the air like this, and the contact occurred. Free throw is good for Clark. He's got the first. He has 10. But then again, sometimes you look at this game with your heart, and you. It's not like Mike doesn't have a definite rooting interest here. Clark has 2 for 2, and he'll get a third. You remember Ed Beach, our colleague from years gone by, he always said about this rule, he said if you don't hit the first 2 free throws, you should not get the third in that situation. And Clark buries all 3, and it's a 5-point game. I kind of agree with that, you know. You earn that bonus shot. Even if it is a 3-point shot, you get fouled on. Tinsley to the basket, and a foul. Utanji picks up his third. Take a look at it again, and you'll see he had to come over and made plenty of contact with the body there.
Well, they know they're going to have to spin some fouls underneath. It's just a matter of...
Well, they've got Westerman with 3 now. Stafford is out with 4, and Utanji with 3. Smith and Clark each have 2, and Johnson has 1. 6-point game. Tinsley will shoot again. He's got his first 2 points of the night. Westerman with the ball out front. Tinsley guarding him. Westerman again in the corner for Central. I like the camera vantage points here because you can look down and kind of see what everybody's doing.
Oh, yeah.
Smith. You can see that lane to the basket that closed off, and the steal. Ross throws it down to the corner, and it's run down by Clark for Central. So the turnover will give it back. 5:20 remaining in the game. 7-point lead for Glendale. And Gary Stafford looks like he's getting ready to come back in at the next break. Garowitz knocks the ball out of bounds. And Stafford is in and Johnson is out. So a roll of the bones with 5 minutes and 7 seconds to play.
And you know, those 6 are the only Bulldogs, I believe, that have seen the floor tonight, Rob. And it could be a matter of the starting 5 out there now maybe getting a little worn, a little tired.
Well, Glendale has only gone 7 deep, and the pace of the game is such that it hasn't been an up and down game, even though Glendale tried to get got some transition baskets early in the game. Under 5 minutes to play. Westerman out front, or actually on the side now, and in jail. Will comes out to try and trap. That leaves Vernon Smith open. He gets it to Clark. Clark into the lane, dumps it off to Stafford, who wasn't ready for the pass. Pass was a little low for the big man to handle. And the turnover could loom costly there for Central, particularly if Glendale converts.
Ron White saying come out and guard man close now.
Foul is going to be on Vernon Smith, and what you may not have seen is the belly bump, the contact down low. Take a look at it, because you'll see here, well, yeah, you will. You'll be able to see it right there. He kind of got the ball clean, but there's plenty of contact.
And not straight up with the arms, as you got a good look at there.
Free throw is good. Wes Pickering, 12 points. He has a chance now to join Blake Will as the game's leading scorer. Both will have 13 now. 43-34 with 4:15 left to play. And as we mentioned, this lead seems huge now because of the pace of the game.
8-3 Falcons in the fourth quarter now after they led by 4 at the quarter break.
And Central has only scored 17 points since the first quarter, when they had 17 in the opening quarter. We get a miss and a foul. And Westerman has just picked up his 4th.
Yeah, 17 in the first quarter, and then another 17 in the next 2.5 quarters.
So he got it up on the glass and then reaches in and commits the foul, and Ron White wants to talk it over. He's going to take a full timeout with 3:54 remaining. Glendale leads by 9 when we come back. Glendale has been nails at the free throw line here in the second half. I don't have the exact numbers, Don, but I don't remember too many missed foul shots for the Falcons in this game, and that has served them well as Garowitz gets set to go to the line. He has 9 points in the ball game.
Well, it's still just a 9-point margin, but we've talked about how big that looks right now. And if Glendale continues to make some free throws, then Central is going to have a hard time getting any closer.
Free throw is good by Garowitz. They took a full timeout there, but I think they were wondering if it was a 20 or a full. We charged him with a full. Garowitz doesn't matter to him. He hits 2 foul shots, and it's an 11-point lead for Glendale. And the Falcons have pulled away down the stretch here with 3:45 remaining. Stafford looks to dribble drive into the paint, kick it out to Westerman. He passed up a 3, throws it to Vernon Smith. It goes through his hands. He saves it to Clark, who drives, feeds Stafford, who takes it up and draws a foul from Blake Will, and that'll be his 3rd. Right now, Don, I would think the Bulldogs need to get a few shots.
They'll have to have something like this basically every time down to have a chance. You see here that Stafford juggled it a little bit, or he might have had a chance to make that shot and get fouled.
Well, that's what he needed. He hit the first. That's his first point of the night.
What you see over his shoulder is a 10-point deficit that Central has with just 3.5 minutes to try and make it up.
Another toss, and he got them both. Justin Lloyd is going to come in, and Stafford's going to come out. And that'll mean that Ron White wants to get a little bit quicker player out there at that spot.
And a completely fresh player in Justin Lloyd, who hasn't been in yet.
And more importantly, someone who has 5 fouls to give as they try to trap and steal the ball. More importantly, though, gives him a little quicker player out there to try and do something out of the press with. But right now, Glendale running time off the clock. They force it into traffic and a traveling violation. Clark with the basketball for Central. Around the horn, Westerman drives around his man to the rack, lays it up, and scores. 5 for Luke. Here comes the press. Glendale having trouble getting it in, and we get a timeout taken. And it is going to be a 20-second timeout called by Glendale, their first timeout of the ball game with 2:51 left to play. And here's Westerman with a nice drive to the hoop. And he'll finish it off strong.
So the margin is 7 with 2:51 left. Going to be a tough road for Central, but not one that is impossible if they get the breaks.
If they get the breaks, and if Glendale takes some shots that you might consider ill-advised at this point, I have a feeling that you're going to see Glendale turn their offense over. May be surprised, because nowadays when players think they have open shots, they've got the green light to take them. But right now, if you're Glendale, you're not playing Central. You're playing that clock that says 2:51 to go. And you've got to handle the ball cleanly for 2 minutes and 50 seconds. Garowitz up floor, Pickering, and see what I mean? He takes it to the basket, but he had a clean open pass. He has 15. 9-point lead with 2:35 to go. Smith, nice jump stop for the layup. He has 12. Only 4 here in the second half. And again, Glendale needs to handle the ball for the next 2:15. And they're going to spread things out, as you would expect. Thompson with the basketball. Thompson, Ross, and Tinsley will handle it out front with Pickering and Garowitz. So they've taken Blake Will out and gone to the extra guard. And they're running the high school equivalent of the Dean Smith 4 corners.
Well, Ron White is hollering from the bench right now to get this foul in Hutanji. He was hollering at Joe to get up on Thompson and create a 5 count to where Glendale has to do something with the ball instead of just stand there.
Well, I think what Joe may have misinterpreted was that he wanted him to come up and commit a foul because he reached in and picked up his 4th. And Glendale with one of the few misses at the line here in the second half. And here comes DeJuan Bryant. And you saw Blake Will, who's going to come in for Austin Thompson at the line. So you've got Bryant in at a guard spot, he along with Justin Lloyd. And you've got 2 guys who can chase the ball and stop the clock. Thompson missed them both. 7-point game. You hit a 3 ball here, and
it gets real interesting fast.
It's anybody's game again. There's Justin Lloyd, who passed the 3. Bryant wouldn't pull the trigger.
Somebody's going to have to. Sure, they want to get it to Clark, but that time is not on their side.
90 seconds to play. We're under that now. Clark, and they'll guard him way out front. Vernon Smith with a layup.
That'll be the last time Central can afford to take that much time, but they did get what they wanted.
Within 5 now, they need to get the ball. Glendale screaming for a timeout, and it's a good thing that coaches are allowed to call timeouts. It's going to be a 20-second timeout because the 5 players on the floor didn't hear him call timeout, but Randall Long heard Mike Keltner scream timeout and gave it to him. Central can't afford to do this every time down, Don. It was a nice move, but that's what Glendale wanted them to do. Take time off and get the ball inside. You eat up more time off the clock, you're down to 1:01 to go.
They didn't want to give up what looked like a layup or a simple enough shot that time, but what you didn't see was about 28 or 30 seconds burn off the clock before it came to that.
And Ron White talking to his younger players, both Lloyd and Bryant, and I say younger players in terms of experience. You got to go ahead and crank that thing up there. And by that, they also had open threes.
Now Randall Long has a foul before the ball ever came in bounds, and it's against Glendale. It's on Tinsley.
And that's not what you want to do, is send Central to the line. And there's where he had it right there, the illegal screen.
Not a whole lot of contact, but he kind of forced the elbow out there to stop Clark.
Central unable to convert. And a foul, Bryant.
Well, that was a major missed opportunity. That could have made it a one-possession game with a minute to go.
Glendale was going to put Austin Thompson back in, but then you got the quick foul, so you want your defensive unit out there. And we're going to get timeout taken by Ron White. And this one is going to be full timeout with 56 seconds to go. 47-42 Glendale when we return. Well, I hope that Mike Keltner will forgive me for putting the whammy on his free throw shooters. They were shooting the ball well, but here they missed their last 3 in a row before hitting that one.
Ross missed one there before we came back and then hit the second one.
He has 3 points in the game, and we're under a minute to go, and Glendale's lead is 6. 2-possession game, but the two possessions need to be threes. And Glendale will commit the foul by Ross. So the clock stops, and again, Central with an opportunity to put points on the board with no time on the running off the clock.
Now what? They're going to re-administer the free throw, and
well, they're saying
or not.
They're saying that Bryant was served. I have no idea what they're saying.
I don't either.
Foul occurred before the shot. Utanji spins, foul line jump, no good. Somehow I don't believe that the Bulldogs have done what Ron White has wanted them to do. He looked rather frustrated there. And Joe Hutanchi has just fouled out of the game with 9 points with 40 seconds to play. And you were able to gather down at the other end.
It had something to do with the shooter at the free throw line was not
the right player.
Yeah.
And so they gave it to Central out of bounds. Take a look at Utanji, who fouls out with 9 points and a handful of boards. And we're going to get a timeout taken by Glendale. Or excuse me, it is Ron White who takes the timeout. It's his last full timeout, and here's the foul where he lost his post man. Glendale gets the rebound, and the foul occurs right after that. And Utanji fouls out. So Central is down to just 1 20-second timeout remaining in this game, and just about all their bullets out of their gun, Don.
Yeah, Mike looks like he's breathing a little easier now, but he's got 40 seconds to work off of this clock. That's a great night to get out if you're a basketball fan. You don't mind slip sliding your way out to the pit tonight?
They're getting rowdy, Clyde. You remember, though, when this place used to be full and everybody used to do that.
Yes, I do.
And you used to be doing that.
I used to be doing things worse than that.
He sat in the basket that
right here that you're looking at.
You're looking at right there. Free throw in and out, no good. Where they had people waving their hands behind the hoop and everything else. Pickering has 15 points, and he'll shoot one more. He gets one, give him 16. He's the game's leading scorer. And a 7-point lead with 40 seconds to go.
Got to have a three.
I would think so. And a foul by Tinsley.
Well, that's not the worst thing that can happen to Glendale, because Central can only get two here.
But you don't want to send them to the line for anything.
I mean, that almost looked like was purposeful in that, you know, you make Clark shoot two instead of allowing him to even get a three ball in the air.
And the way they're shooting free throws down the stretch. Could be the best defense of all, but that's not normal basketball strategy. The last thing you want to do is put them on the line with a chance to score points for the third time in the last 2.5 minutes without any time running off the clock. And this time they convert as Clark gets the free throw. I don't think it's going to matter. I think Glendale has enough on the board to win this low-scoring affair. Free throw is missed on the scramble for the loose ball. A foul has been called.
Smith and Pickering got tangled up.
And Vernon Smith gets called for his fourth foul.
Watch 24 here for Central on this side. And he comes over Pickering and then
kind of chicken wings him and brings him down. Their arms got locked up, and West will go to the line and shoot free throws. Pickering has 17.
I don't think I've ever heard chicken wing used as a verb. But now I have, because I'm working a game with Rob Evans.
That's what he did, didn't he? Did you see his arm get tangled in there? You think a chicken wing is something you eat.
I know it's something I eat.
17 points for Pickering. Thompson with the putback.
That'll be the knockout punch.
52-43 with 25 seconds to go, and Westerman's three is off the mark. And Garowitz with a long baseball pass. Blake Will tried to jam, missed the shot, and we get a whistle and a foul going the other way.
Well, that's a tee for hanging on the rim, nothing else, but
Pickering is going to get called for his third foul. They won't get Blake Will for a technical, as you're saying. Check this out, though. He loses the handle on the ball. Actually got a little help going up, so that's why they might not have called the tee. But in the follow, Pickering got on Westerman's back. Westerman with 6.
Will's done for the night now. He comes out.
16 seconds left to go. You think he's going to get help to a seat. Westerman buys both. Give him 7. Seven-point game. Justin Lloyd and Wes Pickering got tangled up, so they tell him to knock it off and get the ball inbounds for Glendale, and Lloyd commits the foul. Pickering will shoot free throws, and Justin with his first. So with 15 seconds left, it's still a 7-point game.
Well, I think we can say this about Central, Rob, and you know, there's not much consolation in a moral victory, but Central has shown me they can play with anybody tonight.
Ron White takes his final timeout. It is a full time. It's a 20-second timeout. Gary Schultz, the lead referee, calls the timeout. So Ron White is out of timeouts with 15 seconds to go.
Well, you're talking about the #1 team in the state in Class 4A, and Central had them down after a quarter and was down by only 4 after 3 quarters. And this is going to say something for balance in city basketball this year. We've talked through the month of December mainly about how everybody is, Glendale's an outstanding team, of course, but everybody else is pretty good.
And Parkview is the team that has been getting lost. Parkview and Hillcrest in the mix. Everybody just assumes that it's Glendale, Kickapoo up the top, Parkview, Hillcrest, Central like it usually is. Pickering gets them both. He has 19. 54-45. But, folks, I'm here to tell you it's going to be a little tighter than that this year. Westerman cranks a 3-ball, and Clark comes crashing in from outside to get the rebound. We're going to go to the other end and shoot free throws. And Darius Clark picks up foul number 3. Point is that if you forget all about Parkview, they're going to sneak up and beat some people.
Yeah. They're like 10-2 or something like that now.
And Hillcrest is not a bad ball club either, and we've seen tonight that Central is a team that you've got to watch. If you let down, you could get beat.
Especially here on this floor.
Yep. Garwitz to shoot. He'll toss 2 in the air. The first is no good, but it's not going to matter. 9 seconds remaining. And you think that's something that we're saying just to be nice to everybody, but we're not. Central's got a good ball club. 2 free throws missed. 5 seconds to go. Bryant fakes a 3. Now he takes it. Good with 1 second left, but that's it. It just changes the outcome, or the final margin of the outcome. 54-48. Glendale with a win. Back in a minute. (54-48). Glendale with a win. Central gets that last 3 from DeJuan Bryant to make it close. And the Bulldogs fall to 6-6. They're 0-2 in conference play. Glendale improves to 13-0, and they're off to a 2-0 start. Our next game coming up, it's on Monday night as we'll be out at Glendale for the annual Kickapoo Glendale girls matchup, and that'll be our next telecast right here on Cable 36. For our entire crew, for Don West, I'm Rob Evans. Good night from Central.